Foreboding joy. That might sound kind of ominous as a creative prompt, um, but but it's a real thing. And so let me read you a definition of what foreboding joy is. Ask you to reflect on that a little bit, and then there's a creative prompt that hopefully will get some of the creative juices flowing for you as you think about something to work on. Foreboding joy is a psychological phenomenon where people anxiously brace for the worst case scenario during a positive or happy moment because they feel vulnerable. I'm going to reread that slowly, and I'm inviting you at this point to see if it sparks anything, a memory or an experience that you've had that is somehow captured perhaps by this definition. So again, foreboding joy is a psychological phenomenon where people anxiously brace for the worst case scenario during a positive or happy moment because they feel vulnerable. Like, wow, anytime something good happens, boom, that kind of thing. So see if something like that sparks for you. You may even want to pause the video for a moment and reflect on that a little bit, whether you've had experiences or memories of times like that, where something wonderful is happening, but there's this shadow sort of falling on it, like, what if this ends, or what if something bad happens? Right, and then here's the prompt. And this is a bit more specific than I normally give as a prompt, or that we in Table Collective normally do. It's a little more directive in that sense, but let's see what happens. It's a fill in the blank starter for a narrative approach to the topic, a narrative that is aimed at helping us connect descriptively, if you will, with the experience of foreboding joy, an imaginative experience. It does not have to be you or historical in your own life, even though I'm going to invite us to imagine it in the first person. That first person subject of your creative response doesn't have to be you. You don't have to be the I in whatever is created. And by starting with a narrative, it doesn't mean that we're asking you to tell a story or anything like that. It can still be a poem, a song, a painting, spoken word of some sort, or the start of a story. And let's sort of see where it takes us. But again, the idea is to use this narrative prompt to stir up what it's like experientially in the first person to have an experience of foreboding joy and how we might respond to that. So again, think of images that you might want to draw or paint or capture in a narrative, or a story in a narrative, a poem, whatever it may be, as you work with this, even a stream of consciousness spoken word piece. All right, and I'll go through it twice, and I'll indicate where the blanks are. That morning I awoke, and through the window I saw blank and heard blank. I walked into the kitchen and blank. In my stomach, below the meeting point of my ribs, I could feel a warm spring of joy as I remembered blank. And then an old familiar shadow fell and blank. Suddenly, as if it were a voice from beyond myself, I spoke to the shadow and I said blank. Now I'm going to reread it, and again, asking us to just sort of imagine a scene, a picture. Might be something you want to paint, or even a photograph you want to take, story you want to tell, poem, song, etc. You know the drill. But let me reread it slowly. That morning I awoke. Through the window I saw and heard. I walked into the kitchen, and in my stomach, below the meeting point of my ribs, I could feel a warm spring of joy as I remembered. And then an old familiar shadow fell, and suddenly, as if it were a voice from beyond myself, I spoke to the shadow and said, be interested to see what we come up with this. Feel free to share it in our community space in Table Collective, or perhaps as a virtual art share, reach out to us. Look forward to seeing it.